Hey guys, welcome to the Fans Voice. All right, with the NFL draft being just a day away, going to be doing my final first round mock draft. All right, I only got like two trades coming in on this one. I would not be surprised if there are more. I think there's only going to be maybe four at most total trades. So, but I just did the two that I think are the most likely to trade. And it's because whether it's the position of need or lack of draft capital. All right, let me get this going. All right, so with the first overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Raiders select Fernando Mendoza. As everybody expects, yeah, I think he's going to sit for the first year, learn behind Kirk Cousins, and then he's going to take over next year, and they're just going to build on top of it. And I still think they could get a top 10. I think they're still going to be a top 10 pick in next year's draft. And then they'd be able to draft one of the best receivers in the draft coming out of next year, like Jeremiah Smith or who knows, somebody else. But next up, with my second pick, I went with Arvell Reese. I think it's either going to be him or David Bailey with the second pick. They've been tied very close to either one of them. Personally, I think Arvell Reese will fit more for the Jets because the Jets have a lot of needs. And he's going to be able to fill in on off-ball linebacker spot and or edge for them, and they really do need a lot of help on that defense. So I think Arvell Reese makes more sense to the Jets than, let's say, David Bailey. Not saying they shouldn't go for David Bailey, either or. To me, either or. Next up, I got Dallas Cowboys trading up to pick 3. They give up the 12th and 20th in return for the third, and picks Jerry Jones says that he wanted to go all in on defense at the start of the offseason. So what is a better way than trading up to pick number 3 and draft one of the best defensive players in this draft? And then with the other picks that they have, they'll still be able to get good quality starters on their defense. They could still get a good linebacker. This is a good deep linebacker class. So I think they'll be able to get one in the third round or fourth, fifth, whichever. And then they will be able to get a good quality corner in the second round as well. So I think they'll be able to fill in even with trading up, them losing their first round picks. But David Bailey, he's going to be able to be their next good edge rusher after losing Micah Parsons. I think he's going to be better than them grabbing Rashawn Gary. I think he's all right, but having David Bailey in there with Rashawn Gary, that's going to help them both out. Bailey will be able to learn, and Rashawn Gary will still be able to get 8 to 10 sacks as long as he's healthy. All right, with pick number 4, I've got the Titans taking Jeremiah Love. I think it's going to be a toss-up between Love and Styles, but I think they want to give Cam Ward another offensive weapon because he's good in the ground game and he's good in the receiving game. Next, I got the Giants taking Sonny Styles. They need to work on some defense. Linebackers one of the biggest needs. Why not grab the best linebacker in the draft? All right, got the Browns taking Carnell Tate. They really, really need wide receiver, and they really, really need offensive tackle. I lean more for wide receiver because he's the best wide receiver coming out of this draft. He's tough. He's got good hands. He's good at the contested catch. He's got really good route running. And he makes more sense than grabbing an offensive tackle first, especially since there's some good offensive tackles at the back end of the first round. So I think they'd be able to hold off on grabbing an offensive tackle. I know grabbing Francis Moigoa or Monroe Freeling, it's going to be very enticing. But they also really like Caden Proctor, and I think they'll be able to get him later on in the draft. Or maybe even Caleb Lomu or Blake Miller. Blake Miller is his name. So I think they'll still be able to get a good left tackle later on in the draft. So Carnell Tate it is. Next up, Washington. I was torn between grabbing offensive weapon or Ruben Bain or Caleb Downs. I feel like if Jeremiah Love somehow falls to 7, they're taking him. If Sonny Styles falls to 7, I heard that that is their guy if he were to fall to 7. But in this mock, he does not. So they take Makai Lemon, a guy who has a lot of skill, has a lot of promise coming into the league, and he's going to be able to give Jaden Daniels a much needed help at wide receiver because all he got right now is Terry McLaurin. Next up, I got the Saints grabbing Ruben Bain. I think it could either be Monsieur Delane or Ruben Bain, but I think they want to go more for a good pass rush to help out the back end. So let's grab Ruben Bain. I know he has a shorter arms, but I think he's going to be able to work around that. He's been doing it his entire football career in college and high school, and he's going to continue being able to work around it. At 9, Kansas City, I think they're going to grab Monsieur Delane. I know they grabbed Kaiir Elam. Elam's not the greatest. They still need to fill in a good cornerback spot, and he is going to be able to do that. To me, grabbing a corner with their first pick makes the most sense, especially with the top 3 edge rushers being gone. I also thought about maybe Caleb Downs, but I think they really want to go cornerback with their first pick over grabbing a safety. At pick 10, I've got New York grabbing Caleb Downs, doubling down on Ohio State players. Both of these guys really good and they're very familiar with each other. So there's already going to be a good connection between the two. Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles are going to come in there and they are going to change that defense for the better. And John Harbaugh is going to absolutely love it. Pick 11. Biggest need for Dolphins? Wide receiver. So they grabbed Jordan Tyson. I know he has some health problems, the toughness, but the skill is still there. So I think they're going to bank on his skill. They're going to put all their money on his skill, and hopefully he can stay healthy. Now I got the Cardinals grabbing Francis Moigoa. They need offensive tackle, and they get to grab possibly the best offensive tackle in this draft. And he can also move into guard spot if need be. And he is a right tackle. Paris Johnson, who just signed an extension, if I remember correctly, is on the left side. So now they get 2 good bookends to protect a young quarterback that they're probably going to be bringing in and who I have them bringing in. All right, pick 13. LA selects Spencer Fano. He is a right tackle. They need a right tackle. They're going to have 2 good bookends as well. And he can also move into guard because I know they do need some guard help as well. So Spencer Fano is going to be ideal for the Rams. They need to protect Matthew Stafford. And I think this is too early for them to go quarterback. If they're going to go quarterback, it's probably going to be between the 3rd and 5th round. Next up, I got the Ravens grabbing Kenyon Sadiq. This was a toss-up between Sadiq and Oleva Vega Ione. I just think they look at him, they look at Kenyon Sadiq and think this is going to be a matchup nightmare and we need a reliable target for Lamar Jackson. And if Kenyon Sadiq goes to the Ravens, he is going to be their leading receiver. I don't think there's a question about it. I already think if he goes there, he's going to be much better than Zay Flowers. Next up, I've got Tampa taking Jermon McCoy. He's the best defensive player available at the time. They need some defense. I was torn between him and maybe Akeem Mesidor or Keldrick Falk, but I went with corner to help replace what they lost with Jamal Dean. And he's going to come in there, be across from Benjamin Morrison and be a really good cornerback duo. I got the Jets grabbing Omar Cooper at 16. They need some wide receiver help to help out whoever they bring in at quarterback after Geno Smith. I think they're just going to hope that Ty Simpson falls to them at 33, and if not, then maybe they'll grab a quarterback later on, or they're just going to wait to grab quarterback until next year, where they're probably going to be a top 5 pick. Next up, I got the Lions grabbing Monroe Freeling. They need to protect Goff, and they'll be able to give them a good two. Again, I feel like going to be two really good bookends with Penei Sewell and Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling is an athletic freak for his size. Let's get him in there. He's a really good tackle, even though he only has 1 year starting experience at Georgia. Next up, I've got the Vikings grabbing the next best safety, Dylan Theinman. They need safety. I don't see them going for offensive line in this moment. That's probably going to be next round or two, and it's too early for them to grab a running back. I think safety is going to be a top priority with Dylan Theinman still being there at pick 18. I think there is a possibility that they do trade up to get him, so that way the Panthers don't trade up to get him. Next, I've got the Panthers grabbing Emmanuel McNeil Warren. This is another team that really needs safety without Dylan Theinman. They're grabbing him because they don't need an edge. I think they could wait a little bit on some of their other needs. At pick 20, I got the Cardinals reaching for Ty Simpson because they're worried about the Jets grabbing him. And now they got a young quarterback that they could actually have sit this year. Let Jacoby Brissett start. Simpson will be able to sit back and learn, and they'll be able to make sure that they build offensive line and get a decent defense going for him, so that way he's not just going to be floundering. It is going to be a reach, but they want, like I said, they want to make sure they get him before the Jets. I think it'll be, at this point, it could just be a trade war between them and the Jets to get Ty Simpson. Both of them really like him. Next up, I got Pittsburgh grabbing Oleva Vega Ione. I think that's the best choice for them. They need a left guard, and he fits the bill. He's the best offensive guard in the draft, and they need to make sure that they protect Aaron Rodgers and or Will Howard, whoever's going to be the starter this year. And he really fits the bill for that. Next, I got the Chargers grabbing Chase Bisontis. They need guard. They've been needing it for a very long time, and he's the next best up, and he's going to fit the bill and help protect Justin Herbert, because I know he's getting tired of being on his back. The Eagles are grabbing Akeem Mesidor with pick 23. They need edge. They went out and traded for an edge at the trade deadline last year, and they don't have Phillips anymore, so they're grabbing an edge that they at least got inked to 4 years, possibly with the 5th-year option. Next up, I got the Browns taking Caden Proctor. They really like him, and he can be left tackle. They can move him into guard, which they need an entire offensive line still, because the people that they brought in are just patchwork. They're just they just duct tape on a leaking faucet. Not fixed, but at least it's not visibly leaking. Next up, I've got the Bears taking Zion Young. They've been linked to him. He's pretty good. He's got a little bit of off-field problems, but I think that, they'll be able to work past that. Next up, I got the Bills grabbing Cassius out. They really need an edge still. I know they got Bradley Chubb, but they need to bring in youth at the edge position. I don't think wide receiver is as high up on their board right now, with them trading for DJ Moore. So they'll be able to grab a wide receiver in maybe the 3rd or 4th round. I got San Francisco grabbing Caleb Lomu. I know they just signed Trent Williams to a 2-year extension, but they need a successor, and I think Lomu fits the bill. But they also need a guard. And I think he'll be able to bump inside for the next year or two. And then when Trent Williams retires, he could bump on the outside, or he could just stay where he's at. Either way, he fills in a need for San Francisco. I wouldn't be surprised if they go wide receiver, but I think O-line needs to be a priority for them, because I know they're getting sick and tired of being the most injured team. Next up, I've got Caden McDonald going to the Texans at pick 28. I know offensive line's a big need, but I think Caden McDonald is going to be a nice big man in the middle for them. And the Texans got 2 second-round picks, and I think they'll be able to use pick 38 to grab a guard, maybe like Pregnon or Rutledge. I think either way, they will be able to get a good quality starter in the second round. So grab Caden McDonald, keep making your strength even stronger. Next, I got Kansas City grabbing Keldrick Folk. He didn't do bad at college, produced some. He's got a lot of potential, and I think the Chiefs will be able to unlock the potential that he has. And they got a pretty good edge rushing duo with him and Karlaftis. Next up, I got the Dolphins grabbing Colton Hood. They need corner, and with Hafley being there, him supposed to be like this cornerback guru, Colton Hood got a lot of skill, and he's just going to be able to help improve that defense. They need a lot of help. Next up, I got the Patriots grabbing C.J. Allen. The reason I got them grabbing C.J. Allen is because I'm sitting there thinking there's a good possibility, as everybody knows, that they're going to be trading for A.J. Brown, so they're not going to waste that first-round pick on a wide receiver at this time. And it's going to be after the draft because the Eagles are more looking for next year's draft. I think that's really smart planning on the Eagles, and it's good for the Patriots, at least for this draft, with them needing some defensive pieces, and this being a really good defensive class, them grabbing defense makes the most sense. I know they need an edge, but I don't see any other edge. I think it's going to be a reach at pick 31. They could trade back, but they also need a linebacker, so they grab one of the best linebackers in this class. C.J. Allen, he's like a combination of old school linebacker with today's linebackers' athleticism with the speed and the strength. So it's a good combination, and I think he's going to be able to help out that Patriots defense. Next up, I got the Steelers trading back into the first round to grab Denzel Boston. I know some of y'all don't think Pittsburgh should do it. He, very similar. He's just another big body. It doesn't hurt to have a big body guy. You can't have too many big body guys. I know some of y'all think that we need a speedy wide receiver. We got it. DK Metcalf. Speed. He doesn't have bad route run. None of these guys on the Steelers in the Steelers wide receiver room are bad route runners. And I think it doesn't matter. Any one of them be able to play in the slot and still be able to get open. So Denzel Boston really does make sense. And it's just setting up Pittsburgh for the future anyways. Doesn't hurt to have 3 really good wide receivers, and having one that's as young, won't have to pay him as much, and possibly even use a 5th-year option on him later on down the road. But let me know what you guys think of this draft. What would you do differently? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk with you guys later.